Hey everybody, welcome to Southern California. We're in Temecula, home of the QuietCool factory. Today we have Michael, myself, I'm Paul. We've got a couple of fans here, and we're gonna show you what it's like to install these things. We're gonna go over A to Z, and by the end of it, you should have a confident approach to tackle your first installation seamlessly. And so Michael, I wanted to start us off today by opening these boxes up and showing us what we got.
So we are doing a 2-fan system based on the square footage of the home. Thought it'd be best to give them more of a zone system. Paul, if you wouldn't mind. Look at that. So I like to just open the box up, give a quick inspection before we pull everything inside of the house. On top of every box, you'll have your quick start guide and your template. Set that.
Okay, what's the template for? What do we use this for, Michael?
The template is a guide that you'll use in the attic to make sure you have enough clearance for your damper box space. It just gives you a rough cutout of what you're looking at space-wise in the attic.
Okay.
House side, you'll be able to trace that out as a template, and that's your perfect hole for the damper box to fall right into.
So I see there's an X. Is this in the center?
Center point is the X.
So you can make some pilot holes?
So you make a pilot hole from the attic side, and then you know right where you're at on the house side.
And it's durable. You could maybe use this to scoop the
I use it as a scoop every time.
Okay. All right. Now I noticed this owner's manual here has a sticker. Is this the serial number?
Every fan has its own individual serial number that's specific to your fan. So that's just used for warranty information, purchase date, anything else you might need off of it.
So we would want to give this to the homeowner?
That will go to the homeowner as far as a few other things at the end, but for now we're keeping that to ourselves.
What do we got next?
Next, we've got a grill, 36-inch grill for my fan, little itty bitty for yours. 36-inch grill for the 6.0. Inspect the corners, everything's good. Make sure the screws are in there and the removal hook for the inside of the core.
Okay. Screws, I see, and the removal hook. Okay. So the core is removable of this grill?
Absolutely. All the cores are removable for easy cleaning.
Okay, what do we got next?
Damper box. You can just lift the damper box out.
Am I supposed to grab from the edges or in the middle?
Never grab from the center frame of the damper box.
Okay.
If you want to look at this, there's a center frame of the damper box that the doors rest on. It's not a handle. Don't grab by it. Grab from the outside edge. You can just pull the duct off. It separates. We're going to pull the die cut off of it. It's just used for shipping. You made that look too easy. If you want, you can inspect the damper box, look at the doors, make sure they're sealing properly. Thing on the inside looks good.
So what do you mean by inspecting the doors? Making sure that they open and close, or?
So they'll all open and close, but you want to make sure that they close properly on the center frame and your door frames.
Okay.
So holding it up, you can ensure that everything seals properly against the foam, just ensuring that it's going to make a good seal once it's installed.
So we don't install it and find an issue later.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, next it looks like we have the ducts.
You gave me the big one again.
Okay, how do we maneuver this?
I never remove the ducts from the motor head unless absolutely necessary. So in this case, we're going to reach in, we're going to pull the entire motor head out, holding it by the motor and pulling the motor head and the duct out in one pull.
So put my arm in and grab the bracket.
All the way in there. No, grab the face of the motor.
Okay. This little bag came out on mine.
You got lucky. So this is our accessory pack for the installation. We'll have a bag of screws, a nylon belly strap, a set of window locks that we'll give the customer at the end of the install. Every fan will come with an accessory pack as well.
And then this box is what here?
Another owner's manual for your air control hub. Every fan has an RF hub installed in the factory. There's a remote for each hub, which means you'll have a remote for each fan.
Okay.
And then that will be paired with the completion of the install. Owner's guide is just a little reference guide for you to use if you have any questions after the fact.
Okay. So the little mounting hardware is for this back plate?
Back plate, a couple of wall anchors, little screws, battery pack to put in the remote.
And the batteries go on the back side here?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. What other type of insights do we have when we're looking at the product, or is there anything else to be able to pull out of the box?
Not you. I didn't pull mine out at the same time. You got lucky.
So we tested the damper box to make sure the door is closed. Is there anything we need to do to the duct or to the fan head?
Duct, you can give it a once over. Make sure there's no tears in the jacket. Outside of the duct, mine looks good. You can spin the blade, make sure that nothing's shifted during shipping or transportation.
Just with a finger?
Make sure the blade's not hitting the outside of the cylinder wall.
Okay.
Just ensures that you're not gonna have issues once you get it up into the attic and get it installed.
Now, what type of tools are we going to use to be able to install this?
Very simple tools needed. Drill, obviously, just hanging the fan, setting some screws. There's a few different ways that you can cut the drywall. I still prefer a handsaw. It's not as quick, but I have more control using my handsaw. And some guys use Sawzalls, multi-tools.
Preference thing?
Preference. I like the shoulder pump too.
Okay, all right.
Electrical wise, we're gonna be tying it to power. Very simple electrical. Wire strippers, razor knife, screwdriver. Very simple tools needed.
Okay, so there's a little overview of the product, some things we want to look out for quality before we actually execute the installation, light tools to be able to complete the installations. Next, we go into the home, or what do we do next?
Make entrance into the home. Start inspecting locations, looking at different areas that would best fit each home.
Okay, so before we head inside, Michael, when you look at the outside of the home, what type of insights can be gleaned from? What are you looking at, and what does it mean to you?
This is a nice view to look at from a single story home point of view. But just standing here, you can see numerous O'Hagans just on the roof line. I know that there's gonna be plenty of ventilation in the attic.
Okay.
You can also look at your eaves as you're walking up to the house, see if there's any eave vents, gable vents. As I'm even driving through the neighborhood, I'll look at the homes in the neighborhood to see what type of venting they're working with.
This looks, it's a single story home, but it's very tall with a tall roof line. That means, what does that mean about the attic space we probably have?
It means we're doing jumping jacks in the attic.
Okay, it's good. Attic ventilation is one thing you're looking at. Attic height clearance is maybe another thing. And then that just equips you with some expectations about what we're working with.
I already know before I walk in the house, it's gonna be an easier install than most.
Okay, cool. Looks like this attic is well ventilated for this system. What happens if we're in a home where we don't have as many vents as we currently do? What if it's, say, undervented to a certain extent for a system that we're installing? What do we do, and how do we proceed?
A fan will work when an attic is underventilated. You're just not going to get the most benefit out of it. You can still run a fan on low or medium if it's underventilated. That's an issue that you have to bring up with the customer. I typically bring it up at the beginning of the job, letting them know that this is where we're at with venting. You can add more venting in the future, but we can get the install done now. Still using your fan, it won't be at 100% efficiency.
Okay, so we can use our fan and experience the benefit of it and consider adding more ventilation at a later time to optimize the airflow?
Exactly.
Okay. All right, so we've unboxed the product, we've scoped the attic from the outside. Now I feel like we're ready to head inside and show us what you look for as we enter the house.
Finally get started.
Okay. All right, Michael, so as we first enter the home, what are you looking at? What are you seeing? What are you thinking? Give me some insights, and maybe pretend I'm the homeowner as you do your walkthrough.
I want to get a good layout of the home. I want to look down hallways. I want to get into the main central living area just to see what we're looking at.
Okay.
Just to look for different options. Every house is going to be different, so you never know what's around a corner. So let's just look through the home, do a basic walkthrough, look for different landmarks as you're walking through, different recessed lights, sprinkler heads, AC vents, just to point out different landmarks just to get your bearings in the attic.
Okay, so if you see an AC return, you can know where you're at in the attic as it relates to the living space?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is a big central area of the home. We have our zone system where we have the central fan with the zoned master bedroom fan is the plan. Is this a good area for a central fan, or what do you where were you thinking?
Central to the living room, but not for the home. With these fans, they'll work just as well tucked into a hallway as they would right at the entryway. Aesthetics are a big thing to me. Okay. So if we can avoid putting it somewhere in a main entryway, I'd always prefer that.
So centrally located, aesthetics. Is there anything else that we would consider when we're picking a place for the central fan?
Well, our fans are always going to be quiet, but if you want to tuck it into a corner of a hallway, sometimes that sound will vibrate and echo off each wall, but I'd always choose to go into a hallway. Okay. I noticed we did pass a hallway as we entered in. I think we could go take a look at that.
Okay, so living space is not optimal and we want to consider other locations?
Not if we can avoid it.
Okay, will it still work if it were forced to?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It'll work anywhere that you place it in the house.
All right, so we've got this hallway down here. Okay, Michael, so this is that hallway near the front door. We discussed that the central living room area wasn't the greatest for our central fan. What do you see when we look into this little hallway? Is this a good application?
I think this hallway would be great. I wouldn't try to shove it into a closed area if we could avoid it, but just leaving it in this more of an open hallway would be ideal.
So in this open space of sheetrock, you're thinking?
Absolutely. It'll be parallel with the hallway. I think that would be a really nice fit for this fan.
Okay. So when you're considering the location within the home, this hallway looks like a good spot relative to the other potentials. When we're in this specific spot, is there anything else that you are looking at in particular to be able to say yes right here? Is it just the open space, or?
Just looking at it from the house side, the spacing is a big deal. We won't know everything until we get in the attic and we start digging around.
From the outside perspective of the roof line, do we feel like we have a good shot at potentially getting over here? Ultimately, we won't know, but sometimes that insight comes into play.
I did notice a roof pitch change. There could be some issues up there, but
We'll find out.
we'll find out.
Okay, cool.
What I'm gonna look for are these landmarks in the ceiling like I was referencing. We have our AC return, recessed light, sprinkler head.
So that's what you're going to use to navigate the attic space?
I'm gonna look for those points, and I know all I am is to the face of the house,
Got it.
and I'll be around here.
Okay. Is it wise to consider maybe an alternative installation location before we get up there, to in the event that this doesn't work, that we have a secondary available? Or how do you handle that?
I never say no, Paul. But as much as I was trying to avoid getting stuck into this side of the hallway, this would be another alternative.
Okay.
And it'll still work the exact same here. I just like bringing it into a more of an open part of the hallway instead of a closed off part of the hallway over here.
Okay, so we've identified the installation location that we want to go with for the central fan, Michael. What's our next step?
Next step would be taking a look at the master bedroom, getting an idea for that second fan.
Okay, let's go do it. Okay, Michael, so we're in the master bedroom. We've got the master suite with the master bathroom. When we position a master bedroom fan within a zone system, what are you considering? Walk me through what you're thinking.
Airflow is always number one with an isolated bedroom fan. You know, the homeowner wants to get the most out of their fan, the biggest benefit. That's airflow straight across their bed.
Okay.
So again, I'm very into aesthetics and making it look good. We could go here in this portion of the ceiling. I don't want to ruin the look of the barn door. Happy wife, happy life. So I'm going to step into the bathroom.
There's probably some additional benefits about the bathroom outside of aesthetics anyways, with having high airflow within the bathroom with steam and humidity and bathroom odors. Be good to have a powerful fan.
Exactly. You've got existing venting, existing lighting, bath fans that don't do anything anyways. So it's going to be another added benefit of putting the fan in the bathroom area.
So I see you looking towards the bathroom fan. Do you like the idea of trying to position the QuietCool next to it?
So I'm going to try to get it in line with this existing vent fan, just to make it look like it was meant to be there.
Okay. Okay, so we have the desired location of our central fan. Looks like we're going to try and put our zone master bedroom fan next to the existing bathroom fan. Next step would be?
Finding the attic access and getting in the attic.
Okay. All right, Michael, so we have the attic access in the master bedroom closet. You've got plastic drops.
Plastics.
What are we doing?
So anytime an access is in the closet, I like to just be safe and sorry. Cover the clothes as best you can, cover the carpet as best you can, avoid any insulation getting on anybody's clothing.
Okay, Michael, so we've got the closet cloth and we're ready to enter.
So with any access, just try to mitigate the fingers and touching. move the access to a spot that you know you're not gonna go to. Keep that out of the way. Fortunately, this attic has a light for us. We might be able to see a little bit.
Excellent. And so what are we bringing up into the attic as we go?
This initial go around, I'm gonna just search the attic, search the locations that we had discussed. I'm gonna bring each template for each fan, mark those out in the locations that we had discussed with the homeowner, and verify that we're good to hang the fans where we want to.
Okay, let's get to it. Okay, so we're looking for the AC return as our landmark to be able to navigate within the attic space. It looks like Michael is headed towards it.
So we found our attic access, or found our return.
So this was our AC return at the beginning of the hallway, and we shot over, and the smoke detector is probably around where you're at.
You know there's a recessed light.
Okay.
You know that there should be...
Here's the template behind you.
Yep. There should be a sprinkler. There's our sprinkler head.
Okay.
Smoke detector. There's our smoke detector. So we are that way.
So the air conditioning duct is where we were maybe thinking we were going to be able to go?
Possibly.
Okay, Michael, so we've scouted out this area in the attic. This is our smoke detector in the hallway, correct?
Correct.
We were thinking we might be able to go right here where this air conditioner duct Y is happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's in our way. We're thinking we might be able to jump over into a different bay. Is that viable?
Unfortunately, no. With the sprinklers that are ran through, the sprinkler line that we saw in the hallway shoots over and crosses right over this bay that we were trying to go in.
Okay. So then when we go back into the living space and we were thinking about the different options, this was the bigger open space.
Mm-hmm.
We did have space over here, but we had a preference for over there if we could make it fit. Now the attic is positioning us to come back on this side of the hallway.
That's what it's looking like.
Okay. So then we can see if we can
start digging over there.
So we can see if we can put the fan here.
Scoop. Of course, where we didn't intend on going is accessible. Look at that. One of the biggest positives of having a template is digging out insulation like that.
It is nice. And then there is an X on, okay, so that's center side.
X in the center.
So how are you going to use this template when we're actually in this open bay now? We have the two studs, it's 24 on center. This does fit 16 on center too?
As long as you're going parallel in the bay, it will go 16 on center.
Okay. Now, are we wanting to position this against a stud? Or are we wanting to position it in the middle of the sheetrock? What are we wanting to do?
Preferably, I go against the truss, but being where they ran their Romex, I'm not going to be able to shove my damper box flush up against the truss, so I've got to give a gap.
Okay. If it was 16 on center and you were forced to, would you maybe pull that staple, or what would you do?
Pulling the staple is not going to do you much unless you want to reroute those wires from can light to can light. I've done it. It's not ideal. But no, pulling a staple is not always saving grace. So I'm visualizing the hall downstairs.
Okay.
Our damper boxes have plaster grounds on either side. So I'm going to come off the truss just enough so that plaster ground can have enough space between the truss and my cutout. Being that I'm not going against the truss, on this one I'm only going to mark center. All right? Because we know home builders, they're not always perfect, right? We don't know if these are straight and true. I'm not going to rely on this being square, so I'm only going to mark center on this one. And then from the house side, I'll square it up in the hallway, make sure it's square to the hall.
So you made a pilot hole, and then we'll reconnect downstairs to be able to straighten it out.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, Michael, so we're taking into consideration where we can fit the damper box as it relates to items running in the attic and joist spacing.
Mm-hmm.
What about height clearance? We clearly have a lot of height right here. Talk to me about what you're thinking as it relates to height clearance.
Yeah, this fan in particular, you need some height to get a good radius in your duct, and we've got plenty here. Just crawling through the attic initially, I'm gonna bring this duct up, face it to the side of the house, and I'm gonna hang the motor head somewhere off of those.
From these structural 2x4s?
Maybe the next one. Okay. We've got a 9-foot duct on this, so it's got some room to stretch, but not too much once you put that radius in.
Okay.
So that'll make for a good hang. It'll give you plenty of room to access your damper box, get the collar on.
So what if we were in a tight attic? Let's talk about height clearance and other types of applications real quick. What do you think the minimum height clearance is for, say, a medium to large size fan? Can you do them in small, tight spaces?
I've done them, but you do need a minimum. For a fan this size,
40 inches, 50 inches, what do you think?
For a fan this size, yeah, to comfortably access the point of hanging it with enough space, you're looking at 36 to 40 inches comfortably.
So a couple feet.
A couple feet to a few feet.
Okay.
I mean, I've done them where I'm laying on my chest trying to hang a fan.
So you can do
it. But it's a little bit more tough.
It's preferable for space.
If it is preferable to have an ample attic like this.
So we have the damper box clearance, we have the duct motor head height clearance. When you're looking at powering the fan, what are you looking at as it relates to how can we power the fan? I saw we have our 20-foot power cord that you mentioned was UL rated, so we can plug this thing in, correct?
Absolutely. It's just an appliance with a cord with a plug whip on it. So the first thing I notice is their FAU's mounted in the attic. It's a 20 amp circuit that's available for us to use. Being that we don't run our QuietCools with our AC simultaneously, that circuit's wide open for us.
If we didn't have the FAU as an available receptacle to plug into, maybe it was hardwired or on a switch, what would be your alternative considerations for pulling power?
The smoke detector that I'm sitting on.
Conveniently located. Okay.
So if necessary, you can pull power from a smoke detector, create a plug up in the attic, plug right into it from there. Cool.
Any other things that we consider as it relates to this first attic site inspection? We've got where the fan goes. Looks like we have some power options.
Jumping through the attic, you can look for circuits. Try to stay away from bathroom circuits. Kitchen circuits, those are a little bit more finicky. But looking for bedroom circuits to tie into, you're chasing wires, trying to find out what's power wires running through, jumping from box to box.
So general rule of thumb is look at the FAU, see if that's a viable option. Look at smoke detectors, see if that's a viable option. Outside of that, stay away from the kitchen and bathrooms and whatever else would work next. So are we ready to do the bottom stairs and make our cut?
Yep.
Let's do it. All right, Michael, so we got the central fan located. While we're up here, for efficiency purposes, we can do the master bedroom zone fan too?
Absolutely. Kill two birds with one stone.
So you're talking about landmarks here.
So I can see this big vent. I know that's coming off of our...
So that's our bathroom exhaust fan.
And where I wanted to put it, I know I'm going right here. Gotta love regulations and their sprinkler lines.
Okay, Michael, so we're talking about landmarks. This is our bathroom fan. You can tell because it's ducted out to the outside and it has that bathroom fan look. So it looks like we've found our location on where we're wanting to be at. We also look like we have a wonderful water pipe next to us. So
yep.
I see you exercising caution there. This looks pretty textbook compared to where we were just at for our central fan. But tell me what you're thinking. Are we good to go here? Do we have any issues or complications? What do you think?
So again, I know that this bath fan has its plastic register around it. So I'm gonna give myself some space off of that truss. The sprinkler line, I'm not gonna get too close to it if I don't have to, being that if I cut out, there's a chance of nicking it, getting too close to it. So I'm gonna just center myself in this bay, and knowing from the house side, this was my only issue to stay away from. So I'm gonna go X marks the spot on this one again.
So because the bathroom fan has a grill,
yep.
you're thinking that if we position our fan against the stud,
yep.
that our grills are gonna overlap?
Absolutely, they will.
Okay, so we're going to come off the stud a little bit.
I'm going to pull off of that and give ourselves some space.
Now, what is it look like as it relates to, now you say our product doesn't have any framing required, and in these cases it looks like we're going on sheetrock only. There are instances where we can put it up against the stud, assuming we don't have another grill that we could overlap, or assuming we don't have barriers against the joists like on our central fan with the wiring. We're okay to be able to put the damper box on sheetrock without securing it to a stud?
We are. We've got 4 plaster grounds that are attached to our damper box, and those will just rest right on the drywall itself.
Okay, so against a stud or on the sheetrock, both installation applications are okay.
Yep. If we do happen to go against the truss, our plaster grounds are removable. A little pry with a flathead, they pop off and allows you to go flush against that truss.
And there's a way you can fasten it to it.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so we could make a pilot hole and then we're ready to rock on this too?
Absolutely. So I'm going to take the hole that we marked out from the attic. I know that's my center hole in the template. Now that's in place. So before I trace anything, I'm just going to square it up in the hallway, making sure that we're square. You see that?
Are you amazed at the builder's accuracy here, Michael?
Or the fact that I just squared it up just with a little nudge. Come on, 25.5.
Michael's magic touch, they say.
Once we're squared and we're good, we're going to just trace it out. And we are ready to cut. So like I mentioned, I like to use a handsaw. It works. I have control.
Now, does it matter what side you start on, Michael?
Nope, whatever side you prefer. So as you're getting close to the end of your cut, you want to brace the drywall while you're cutting.
To avoid texture tearing?
To avoid the drywall from falling on your face.
Okay, that too.
Newer homes, you don't have to really worry about texture tearing off like that, but older homes, if it were lath and plaster, just brittle drywall.
That was a nice clean cut. You must either go to the gym or do a lot of these. Okay, cool. So clean cut, Michael. We've got this piece of sheetrock here ready for disposal. Give it to the homeowner. What do you do with this?
I toss it in the trash.
Okay.
They'll never want to take this out again, so that's not going to be used for anything else.
And now we can pass our system through the attic?
Yep. So one feature that our fans offer is everything is able to pass through the cutout. If the access is either too small or it's a long haul to get the fan to your location, you can pass everything through the hole that you cut out for the damper box.
Okay, so it's an efficiency decision as to whether you want to use it or not, or whether you're forced to use it or not.
Yep.
Okay. All right, well, I'll get you the system. Okay, Michael, so we've got the fan plugged in with our 20-foot power cord. I see you have the remote with the batteries in the back that are provided. Do we need to pair this remote to the hub?
Pairing is crucial, but very simple. So we'll give it a quick double press.
I see the lights
on
blinking.
The hub. We have a blinking light. We're going to turn our remote on.
While it's blinking?
While it's blinking.
Okay. And now I see it shows the remote's off. Can you turn the fan on now?
We'll go ahead and turn it on.
Okay.
Select the time.
So the top is hours?
Your hours. Your bottom is speed.
So it's hours it's going to run and then it turns off in 12?
Correct. Now it's paired. Now that it's paired, we can go ahead and turn it off.
Okay, Michael, so we have our duct and we have our motor head here. You're wanting to disconnect it to throw it through the rough cut. How do these two pieces connect?
So rather than traditional duct collars, we don't use zip ties. We have a simple clasp. It unclasps, the duct collar will separate, and it simply will just come off the motor head.
Oh, that's convenient. Okay, so we have this little buckle here, huh?
Yep.
Okay, so it looks like I bend it back and the arm opens up. And then as I push it closed, it pulls it tight?
Pulls it tight around the motor head and makes the seal.
Okay. On both sides?
Both sides, for the damper box and the motor head.
Okay. Does it matter what side is what if you get them mixed up in the attic? Is there a side that goes to the damper box? There's a side that goes to the motor head?
It's not going to make a difference other than ease of installation. This side, because it was formed around the motor head initially on assembly, it will go back on the motor head a little bit easier. This side, because it was pushed onto a damper box, has got a little bit of an oval to it already. That'll be easier to get back onto the damper box collar.
Gotcha. Okay. Which piece do we want to throw through the access first? I would think the motor head maybe because that's going to go furthest away.
Process of installation. So motor head first, duct second, damper box last.
Okay. Do we need anybody to receive the equipment up there? Does it make it easier? Can you do it either way?
You can do it either way. It makes it easier when someone is up there receiving each component from you. And if you have the access and the availability to push it out of the way. But you're able to get it done just pushing it up and pushing it out of the way and working through the hole that we made.
Okay. All right, I'll follow you. Okay, so that thing just barely fits. That must be by design, yeah?
That's exactly what it is.
Okay. And then you're mindful of the elements in the attic, the sprinkler line, etc.
Yep.
Okay. Now, what about, do I want to push this in, Michael, and be able to make this go through easier? This wide duct?
Sure, that works. Do you think these shoulders come natural, Paul? Being that we're working solo, we'll just shove that out of the way for now.
Okay, so Michael, previously you talked about the damper box resting on the sheetrock with what you called these edges, the plaster grounds?
Plaster grounds.
Okay, and if we go against a joist that you can remove them, I see these little divots here.
Yep, they're just crimped through each panel on either side, and all it takes is just prying at the crimp with the flathead, and these will just pop right off.
Okay. And in this application, we're going to keep all of them on.
Exactly. We're using all four.
Okay. And this fits through the hole too.
And again, it fits perfectly through the hole. We're going to just slip this right up.
So you can drop that guy right into place.
Yep, just like it was meant to be there.
Okay, Michael, so this is our accessory bag that he brought out of the box earlier. There's our duct strap. You probably want that for the attic.
Attic side.
And these are our screws to be able to mount the damper box and install the fan.
Yep.
Okay, and then these are the window locks to limit how much a window can open. These go to the homeowner?
Homeowner as we're done with the install.
Okay, well, show us what we do for our next step on this damper box.
So what we're really trying to accomplish is just securing the damper box temporarily to the ceiling while we're screwing our grill into it, to the PGs that are on the damper box. So what I like to do is just put a couple screws through the drywall into the plaster ground.
Okay.
And that's just gonna hold the damper box in place for us.
So that drives through the sheetrock and punctures the metal flange above?
The PG, correct. And I'll typically do 3 just to make sure it's got enough bite for me to put the grill screws in. Now I know this side is secure, so I'm gonna start putting my grill screws in on this side of the damper box.
Okay. Okay, so we want to use the included grill screws. You had said this is a removable core, so I can push this core out?
If you'd like to.
Okay. Snaps back into place.
grill just falls into place.
Okay, that looks nice.
So we're going to start with the side that we know is secure.
I see that the grill has little divots for the screw heads to set into.
Yeah, they sit flush. If you go too hard in it, you could strip the hole out in the plaster guard and that screw won't hold anymore. So we want to just bite just enough to flush it up into the grill.
And I do see that the grill itself is coming tight against the sheetrock.
Very much so. There's no gap, nothing that has to be filled with silicone.
Do you sometimes or oftentimes or never have to put a bead of caulking around the grill?
I never put a bead of caulking around the grill. I think our grills look flush enough to the ceiling. They seal against the ceiling well enough to where I don't think there's a need for any silicone around the edge of the grill. These are some of the nicest screws I've had in a long time, actually. And now we're done here.
Okay, looks good.
Cool.
So the bottom side is complete. Now we execute the attic space.
Correct. We just do a little cleanup and we're done.
What about this guy? I see that we have this hook. You called it the grill removal hook. This pulls the core out.
So like I mentioned at the beginning, each core is removable. So it can be taken out and cleaned and washed. Hook up into one of the grids, support the center of the core.
I see you're in the corner. Do you have to do the corner?
Doesn't have to be. You can go from an edge, just pull out. But you support the core and the inner core will come out.
Okay.
You can take it outside, hose it off, take it in the garage, blow it off with a compressor.
Clean it if you want.
Clean it, put it in the dishwasher if it's big enough. And then when you're done, it just snaps back in place.
That looks great. Okay, so in the bathroom here, we have our pilot hole and installation location selected. Considering we're in a bathroom and that there are multiple preferences to actually making the cut, whether you're cutting down below or whether you like to cut above in the attic, like we're gonna do in this bedroom fan, we're gonna utilize the box. He's gonna give us some pilot holes that are gonna showcase where I can cover the cutout, and he's gonna cut and all the contents are gonna fall into the box and we can help keep the bathroom neat and clean.
So what we're doing on this one is we're gonna cut the hole out from the attic side. I know that we're in the location we need. We're just gonna square this off of the truss and hope that everything is square in the house. We'll mark it. Now this only works if you have a 2-person install crew, which I typically don't. So that's marked. And we have Paul downstairs who's got the box, who's gonna accept all the dust and the mess. So before we start our cut, we're gonna cut a little finger hole so we can hold the piece of drywall so it doesn't just fall out as we make our final cut. So we'll just plunge in the middle. Now we have something to hold on to. All right. I got it.
Are you done, Michael?
I'm done. I got it.
Ready to lower the box?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Another clean cut. Okay, so what would you like next, Michael? Would you like to receive the system through the access in the closet or through the hole that we just cut?
Being that this one's close enough to the access, this is going to be an access pull.
Okay.
So we're gonna push this fan up through the access. grabbing at the face of the motor. As we transition, we're gonna pop up to the base of the motor. And we're just gonna slide this whole thing in. Easy as that.
Okay, so we're in the attic with our damper boxes in place, moving over to our bedroom fan location. It looks like you're getting the duct on. The damper box just resting, and are you pre-hanging, it looks like, to get an idea of what you think you want to do here, Michael?
Yeah, I'm just looking for the best angle to hang the fan. Getting the motor head away from the living quarters. Not that it's loud, but anything we can do to try to mitigate noise and
Sure.
eliminate any unnecessary sounds that a customer may hear. I know the master bedroom is towards the rear of the house. I'm going to point the motor head towards the front of the house.
So that's what you're considering as it relates to hanging the fan, is where can we hang it and maximize the sound performance?
Exactly.
Okay. Does it matter if we hang the fan and then connect the duct to the damper box first or second, or what's the order of operations that matters most, or it doesn't?
If you're not sure of your duct length and just location of where you're going to hang the fan, you can attach the duct first. Okay. And then make sure that you're not going to outstretch the length of your duct.
How far should we be hanging the fan head from the damper box?
As far as you can get it away from the damper box. Yeah, as far as you can away from it.
While also having a bend on it?
While trying to keep a nice radius in the duct.
So Michael, I noticed you didn't put the screw all the way into the framing.
Nope. Our straps are designed with keyholes at various points through the strap. So when you just pre-start a screw, you can pick the motor head up and slip the screw head through that keyhole, and it'll suspend it there for you. Just making it easier to hang it so you're not hanging the fan with one hand and trying to drive a screw. We just started the screws and now we can finish them off.
So even on a bigger fan, you could hang it with one guy pretty efficiently.
Absolutely. That's what makes it easier with one guy, is starting the screws, using the keyholes.
Okay, so is it customary to do a minimum of 2 screws per strap?
I will always put at least 2 screws per strap, just as a backup.
Sure.
Just a fail-safe.
Now I also see that you dog-eared those collars. Is that for vibration purposes, or what is that for?
Just less material sticking up into the nothingness. Just looks better on an install.
Okay.
So now that our motor head is hung, we can attach the damper box, or the duct, to the damper box. Let our cord dangle for now.
So the goal on hanging our motor head is that it is free floating and that the motor head is not touching any other item or component within the attic space?
Exactly. Even if there were any amount of vibration or movement, it's not hitting anything, it's not rubbing against anything. It's going to sit there and just run quietly all by itself.
Part of what makes it quiet. Okay. So now we have the duct side.
Duct side. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the damper box, or the duct collar, back on the damper box. We're going to put pressure against the collar, the damper box collar. We're going to pull and work out as much slack as we can. Just so we can get that collar back on the damper box, and we've snapped it in place.
So a little bit of technique there, it looks like, Michael.
Smaller fans, it's a little bit easier because they're not as stretched out, but a little bit of technique. Bigger fans, a little bit more technique.
So you want to get one end of the collar of the duct a little bit of depth on the collar of the damper box and then work the slack over to the opposite side and then push down evenly?
Yeah, you pull the slack towards you and then get the duct collar over the damper box collar. Once it's on, then you square it up and snap the collar down square.
Okay. And then I see that buckle clasp that we used earlier. That's ready for closing?
We're gonna bring this slack back or adjust this out if we're on a corner. You snap it to the receiving edge, pull it, and you can see it sucking the slack out, and it snaps itself closed.
Cool. Now this fan actually looks like it's supporting itself with a soft bend, maybe even without the duct strap. Do we still want to put the duct strap on? Is that always a necessary thing? What are we thinking about the bend and the duct and using the duct strap?
I will always put a duct strap if I have the ability to. Unless your duct is resting on the ground and it's still suspended, I would still put a strap here and just create this nice radius at the midpoint.
Sure.
Oh, unwrap. All these straps are universal between all of our fans, so you will have some excess on these shorter ducts or smaller ducts.
Is that something we tie together or use a screw in the attic for?
Well, I'm gonna roll up some of the excess, and then with the supplied screws that came in your accessory pack, you can shoot a screw right through it, and this just happens to be a very convenient place to hang it. And we'll support it just like that, just giving it a little bend in that duct.
Looks just like the marketing photos.
It's because I did those fans too.
Okay, this is anything else for installation on this fan on the attic side?
In this location, with all the insulation that we had kicked around and moved around back here, as I'm leaving, I'll just kick the insulation back around the damper box over any blank areas that we had moved out, just so when we leave, there's no different cold spots, hot spots in the attic.
Redistribute the insulation?
Exactly.
Okay, and you want to redistribute it around our damper box?
Yep.
Okay.
Now we're good. We're just gonna drag the power cord out with us and on to the next one. So we're gonna attach this duct collar to the damper box before we proceed with hanging the fan on this one. So we're gonna position ourselves a little bit, because this is one that you gotta pull the slack out towards you.
Okay, Michael, so I see you're hooking the far end of the duct collar onto the damper.
Yes, far end of the duct collar onto the damper box collar.
And then you're pinching the slack on the sides.
Pinching the slack on the sides as much as I can. Here we go.
And then once both far ends of the oval are connected, then we push down?
Now it's connected, so now you'll start pushing down on either side of this collar. So, being that we're doing it this way, you can sit on top of the duct, look through and work it through the top side.
That sounded like it bottomed out.
I was stuck on the duct collar rivet.
Yeah, it happens. Okay, Michael, so you have the duct collar bottomed out into the damper box?
Absolutely. So we'll come down here, make our connection.
You getting the buckle tightened up?
Yep.
Okay.
It's on there. Cinch it closed. And we are ready for the motor head.
Now, which way do you want to angle the duct and the fan head on this installation? I'm
gonna point it towards that direction. So I've got plenty of duct slack. Yeah, I'm gonna hang from that truss over there. I'm making my way downtown. Yeah, so I'm gonna use what's in the attic to help me pour some of that out.
So Michael, in a situation where you have the duct disconnected, do you want to pre-connect the fan before you hang it?
I always do, just so I can maximize that stretch. I know how much.
And you kind of have this duct supporting you to be able to get it back on?
Mm-hmm. There we go. Motor heads are always easier than damper boxes. Round fits round. We learned that in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Round doesn't fit oval.
Triangle through the square slot. So now you can determine whether this bay or that bay might be a better fit.
With our excess, I'm hanging here.
Okay.
So again, with our keyholes in the strap, I'm gonna pre-drill some screws so I'm not trying to hold the whole fan up and screw it at the same time. So I'll start a screw. Let's get that one ready. I know where that one's gonna go.
Now it looks like these are very malleable and you can twist and turn these to whatever you need to do.
Pretty much anywhere you need to make this bend, it will work in your favor. Now that we have the fan supported, we can finish these screws up. And then just add another one right on top of it. Finish it up. What are you thinking?
Plenty of slack in this thing to be able to support it with the duct strap, it looks like, and you have great distance, it looks, between the motor head and the damper box. Is there a thing about putting the fan too far away? Can you stretch the duct?
If you pull it past its intended point, you just put a lot of stress on the duct collars.
The connection?
The connection point between the duct material and the collar. If you stretch this too much, it will just start putting a lot of stress on this point, and over time you could just separate the two pieces. Okay. So in 5 years you could hop up in an attic and your duct isn't even attached anymore.
So this is a 9-foot duct, you said?
9-foot ducts on all of our fans, 4,700 and above. So 1,400.
So you're thinking maybe at least probably 3 feet away, maybe 6 feet away to hang this fan from the damper box is a good rule of thumb.
As far as you can get it and still keeping a nice radius in it.
Okay.
So, again with our previous fan, roll up in the excess. And we're good. Not hitting anything. Nice and supported. And we're good. Just like the other one, we'll move this insulation back, cover any blank spots, cover it around the damper box, and ready to plug them in after we hook up power.
Oh. Excellent. Looks good, Michael.
Plug our FAU back in. Plug in our fan. Look at our fan. That looks great.
Okay, Michael, so we've got the project executed. Now it is demonstration time. I see you have the remote here. We're at the fan. How do you typically like to do a demonstration with your customer?
So at the actual fan location, I like to just turn it on for them, run through remote control, operation of it, just so they can hear it as loud as it's going to get, being right underneath the fan. And then once I run through it, I'll pull them into the main living area, open windows, give them a demonstration of actual usage in the house.
And the window's probably where the most airflow is, and
Exactly. You'll feel it the most.
they get excited.
Yep.
Okay. All right, well, let's turn this thing on and let's head over to a window.
Want to hear it now?
Sure.
So I like to just turn it on, start on high, because this is as loud as it's going to get for you. Once the lights go solid.
So this is the Energy Saver 6000, and so we're moving 6000 CFM.
And I can feel it just standing here.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a little damp.
Immediate.
Face is a little damp. I can feel it immediately.
Difference. Okay.
So this is high. This is as loud as it's going to get.
And you're shifting it to low.
Turning the speeds to low.
Low's about 4,000 CFM.
And it's quiet.
Very whisper quiet. And cool.
You think you're funny. Leave the jokes to me.
I see we have the living room window open. I can feel the airflow pumping right across us. You strategically open this window because it delivers airflow right over the couch.
Yeah, if you're sitting in the living room watching TV, you want to cool the place down, that's going to be the best window for you, to where you're going to get it across the entire couch, cooling everybody that's relaxing with you in the living room.
At the mouth of the window, the negative pressure is really powerful.
Yeah, I can feel it from here.
Do you position the customer here to make them feel this power?
Yeah, you want them to feel that effect. You want it to hit them in the face. You want them to, get that giddy smile, feeling something they've never felt before.
Now, what if I open more or less window? How many windows do I want open? I see we just have one window open. Is that for demonstration purposes, or is that because we only want to open one window? How do I window?
One of the ways I was explained it to was, it's like a water hose. When you have the pressure coming out of a water hose, and all you do is just pinch off the end of the hose, you have a faster, harder stream.
More velocity.
Same thing with the air coming through. Right now you have all the CFM coming through a giant area. As you close the window, you have the same CFM, but you're forcing it through a smaller area. So you feel that greater breeze hitting you.
So a bigger fan can afford probably more windows open and still create negative pressure velocity to feel the airflow.
Exactly.
So there is a point to where if you open too many windows, you're probably not going to feel the air, but it's still pulling. But the point of our product is you want to feel it.
Mm-hmm. But it's ultimately up to you. If you want to feel that slap in the face, open a window or two. If you just want to clear the entire house but not feel it, open up 5, 6, 7 windows. Okay. Still pulling air through the house, but just at a very slow rate through each location.
Okay, let's check out the master bedroom fan.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now we're in the master bedroom with our zoned bedroom fan, and we have a window open. We have our fan ready to go. Can we use this fan independently from the central fan? Do we use them together, a mix of both?
The choice is yours at that point. With you having a fan in your room, you can close the door. You can operate this one independently. You can operate it with a central fan, leaving the door open, pulling all the airflow through one window. You've got options now that you have a fan in your room, door is closable. You have full access to cool just this room if you choose.
Okay. So with the attic venting that we have, we could probably run the two fans together and create a very heavy amount of airflow.
8,500 CFM.
And spread it around the house and open a bunch of different windows.
Multiple windows, multiple locations.
This is high speed or low speed?
This is high right now.
It's very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's moving. And so this is pulling airflow right over the bed. I also have these other windows that I could open if I want to direct airflow and come right over the head of the bed as opposed to the foot of the bed. And because we put the grill in the bathroom, now we're getting direct airflow in the bathroom, whereas before, the ventilation was probably on the weaker side.
Yep, even that hot shower, crack a window.
Grill looks nice. Excellent. Good work, Michael.